what is this? Just out of curiosity.
This looks like something I would use to charge my phone.
So the NSA is selling these for $20,000. I'm gonna show you what it does, but it can monitor your keystrokes. So you can put this in line in between your
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, you can put this in line in between your keyboard and your computer. I could put this in straight into your phone. I can leave it there and come back later. This thing has its own Wi-Fi network that I connect to inside of this. And then if you were to, like, you can match this up to yours and see it's absolutely identical.
100% same thing.
Yeah, so if you didn't have that little orange thing on there, you'd easily lose that.
Wow.
This device may look like a simple USB charger, but it's far more complex than it appears. Embedded within the plastic casing is a Wi-Fi chip and a miniature computer, as explained by Ryan. Perhaps this explains why the NSA sells these devices for $20,000. Watch closely as Ryan demonstrates to Patrick what this seemingly innocuous, unconnected cable can achieve.
I'm gonna plug this into USB-C, which, you know, you can pick whatever one you want. So that's plugged into USB-C. This side, I'm not gonna connect to anything. I could charge my phone with it, I could do whatever I want with it, but what I'm gonna do is on my phone, I'm gonna go to Wi-Fi. I'm gonna click OMG. Now I just created a network from this cable that's plugged in. It's not plugged in.
We don't have an OMG network here.
No.
Okay.
No, and this is not plugged into anything.
Okay.
So this is creating a Wi-Fi network.
Yep.
I'm gonna go to it in my browser. And then I have an interface here that I can connect with. So I'm gonna go in the file menu, I'm gonna load payload 1. There we go. All right, so ready? Now I'm gonna hit build and run, which I could be very far away from the computer. This is just showing an example of it. See how fast that's typing?
What's it doing?
It's typing PBD podcast and 0 Day was here.
Get out of here.
So that could have been anything. That could have been a malicious command. That could have been a virus that it downloaded. That could have been anything that I wanted it to be. And I have now remote control over this cable that if I plug right into my phone, watch, plug it into my phone. Charging. You would have no idea that this implant is in your house.
These criminals face zero consequences for what they're doing to you. The reality is, your personal information is out there, exposed and vulnerable. It's on you to protect yourself. That's why we trust and personally use Aura, today's sponsor. Aura does all the heavy lifting to keep you safe online. They take action against these data brokers and companies who are selling your personal information, going after them directly and submitting opt-out requests on your behalf. You don't have to lift a finger. Aura handles it. But that's not all. Here's where it gets even more serious. Aura doesn't just stop there. They continuously monitor the dark web for any trace of your personal data. If they find your information floating around in places it shouldn't be, Aura will alert you immediately. They'll let you know fast if anyone is trying to use that data to access your credit accounts or even drain bank accounts. And if the worst happens to you, Aura has you covered. They offer up to $5 million in identity theft insurance to help you recover if someone gets a hold of your information and tries to do real damage. Don't wait until it's too late. Head over to our link, aura.com/anonymous, to try Aura free for 14 days. That's plenty of time for Aura to find out if any of your personal data is exposed and start protecting you from these threats.
While you are watching your phone is watching you. This is just a fact of life. The operating system is designed specifically to watch you, listen to you, find out where you are in order to help you. It needs to know who your friends are. It needs to know what you're saying in your text messages. It needs to listen to you sometimes. And so you're looking at your phone and you have all of these facilities, but it is the world's greatest spy device, designed as a spy device. Now, something that you may not know is that over half of all smartphones, both iOS and Android, are infected with keystroke logging software. This is a known fact. Every pornography site in the world, if you have ever, I'm sure nobody here has ever looked at pornography, but if you have, if there's a rare exception, then you have keystroke logging software. How do you think they make their money? See, this is the issue. It costs millions of dollars to maintain these massive databases and have the bandwidth to disperse this pornography, and yet you don't pay? Yes, you are paying. The instant you visit the site, if you have an Android, for example, the site runs a JavaScript which sets the download unauthorized application flag. The very first video that you watch, you now, because that's a click-through, you clicked, you did something, said, yes, oh, good, that's yes, I'll do that. Downloads, first and foremost, a remote rooting function. If it's an iPhone, a remote jailbreaking program. All can be remotely rooted now. After it's rooted, they download a keylogger, and all this takes just a matter of seconds. And from that point on, somebody is watching every single one of your keystrokes. And the Russian cyber mafia and the Chinese cyber mafia are so powerful. They pay literally hundreds of millions of dollars to these sites to allow them to access your smartphone so that at some point they can utilize that. So, something to think about.
This stark reality, confirmed by cybersecurity research, underscores the sheer pervasiveness of these threats. Recent studies have shown that 1 in 10 devices are subjected to some form of malware attack per year, with devices accessing adult content at 3 times the risk. The mechanisms of these attacks are often hidden in plain sight, disguised as harmless pop-ups or mandatory updates. This exploitative strategy not only breaches individual privacy, but also sets a precedent for broader security vulnerabilities. Consider the scenario with the FBI and Apple. If we are so vulnerable to attacks from a simple website visit, imagine the implications of legally mandated backdoors in our devices. Now, as we delve into how any device can be hacked with seemingly minimal effort, remember, the tools used by malicious hackers are sometimes no more sophisticated than those proposed for law enforcement. We stand on a precipice where our personal devices, once thought secure, could be turned against us with just a few lines of code. Let's now consider the profound implications of this vulnerability. The FBI's request to Apple to alter its software to bypass security checks opens a Pandora's box. Once such software exists, it can be misused on any device, not just the one in question. John McAfee is about to detail how simple this process can be, risking his standing at the time within the world hackers community. It's imperative that we grasp not only the ease with which these systems can be manipulated, but also the potential consequences of such actions. He brings decades of cybersecurity expertise and a controversial past that underscores his deep understanding of these issues.
These devices are computers, whether it's an Android phone, an iOS phone, or whatever. Inside is a processor, which is a computer, the instruction set, which is the iOS and all the applications that you run, and the memory in which you store your data. Now, let's take the FBI case. The FBI wants Apple to change their software so that it removes the check for security, so that we don't check for security anymore. Once it has that software, it can use that software on any phone. But they say they only need it for one phone. So I'm going to tell the world exactly how we do this. Now, I'll probably lose my admission to the world hackers community. However, I'm going to tell you, you need a hardware engineer and a software engineer. The hardware engineer takes the phone apart, and it copies the instruction set, which is the iOS and applications, and your memory. And then you run a piece of a program called a disassembler, which takes all the ones and zeros and gives you readable instructions. Then the coder sits down and he reads through. And what he's looking for is the first access to the keypad, because that's the first thing you're doing when you input your pad. It'll take half an hour. When you see that, then he reads the instructions for where in memory this secret code is stored. It is that trivial. A half an hour. The FBI knows this. Apple knows this. And this is not an indictment of Apple. Any computer, and this is a computer, any computer that falls into someone's hands Well, anybody can do it, which is why corporate data centers keep their computers locked up, and which is why we ought to keep our own phones locked up. It's not an indictment of Apple. Any computer, any software, whether it's Android, Apple, or what have you, can be done. We can do this with any machine. And it is a half-hour job. The FBI knows this. And if it does not, we are in deep trouble. Deep trouble, because it should know this. Now, in either case, if they don't know it, well, that's tragic. If they do know it, then they are deceiving the American public and Apple and everyone else by asking for a universal key. So in either case, we are in deep trouble. America, please get a clue here.
In the last few years of his life, John McAfee delved deeply into the underpinnings of cybersecurity, choosing to expose the full extent of his knowledge on the subject. Many of his assertions about hacking and digital surveillance have proven accurate, positioning him as one of the earliest whistleblowers to shed light on these clandestine practices. His outspoken stance serves as a potent reminder of the necessity for all of us to be well informed about the technology we use daily. It's crucial to understand not just the features marketed to us, but also the underlying mechanisms and potential vulnerabilities of our devices. By doing so, we can better safeguard our personal information against the growing threats in the digital world. Now let's hear the last part.
Yeah, well, I think the first thing, everybody in this room should educate yourself about these little devices everyone is holding up and carrying, because they truly are spy devices. You have people, I mean, I've even heard people at Google say that if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. Well, I've never heard anything crazier. And who among us has nothing to hide? I'm serious. It's not, do you have something to hide, but what is it that you're trying to hide and from whom? Think about this. Everyone exercises a different degree of privacy hundreds or sometimes thousands of times per day. I just met you. I'm not likely right now, especially with everybody watching, to tell you the intimate details of my life.